It's 7 o'clock on the 9th of December, 2019. This is the Jamaica Selectboard. The first order of business is call for any late additions to the agenda. Does anybody have anything want to add to the agenda?
I think a discussion regarding whether we hold our next meeting on the 23rd of December.
Good point, sir. There should be a short discussion, but we should discuss it. Okay. I have two things I can add that have come up today, actually.
Did you have another one?
No, it's the same.
Okay, sorry.
So,
No,
okay.
sorry, my bad.
I'm sorry, did you have one?
No, I had the same thing, which obviously you have.
Yeah, that's the broadband thing. Okay, good. Approve the minutes of the November 25th Select Board meeting. And
You didn't add this actually officially.
what's that?
You were about to add this, but you didn't.
You can add the two items.
What are the two items that you're adding?
The broadband letter? Oh, I'm sorry.
You started and stopped,
Yeah.
you know.
Hi there. Yes, the two things that I was going to add, in addition to the question you had, we had a monthly fund request this afternoon that came to me, so we'll need to go into executive session to discuss that one. And then we got a letter regarding we got the letter from Chris Campany, which I forwarded it to everybody, regarding the Windham Region Broadband Project Kickoff Meeting. So I sent a copy to everybody. I think we've got it on the desk. And I also sent it electronically. We can discuss that. Yep. Anyway, those are my 2.5 things. Okay? Anybody else? Okay, good. Thank you. First, the second order is approve the minutes of the November 25th Select Board meeting. They were, of course, circulated, as is our usual procedure. Does anybody have any questions, deletions, corrections, observations, complaints? No?
I'll make a motion to accept minutes as written.
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further discussion?
What about the minutes before?
They're coming up.
Okay.
Yep, they're coming
I
up.
didn't see that.
Yep. They're number 5.
No?
Yep. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. The next item is number 3, which is the timesheets, town marshal's office, highway, transfer stations, and we'll put them to the end of the session, as is our usual procedure. Number 4, the select board orders, the same fate for them. Number 5, as you recall, says review and approve the table of the November 11th minutes with changes. We discussed an issue with the motion.
Do we have to take those off the table, or Robert's rules, or?
We just bring them up. We bring them back up now. Do we have to say take them off the table?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's just by bringing them back in.
Okay.
I have, this is regarding item number 7, and there's some confusion around the agreement form versus the volunteer service agreement. So I'm suggesting that we change number 7 to include the sentence that a motion was made to accept the volunteer service agreement with the change in wording from township to town. We're just trying to clear that up, make sure we understand that
So
the
that,
volunteer agreement.
because we also passed the motion to accept the revised memorandum of understanding, so there's now 2 items under there.
Well,
Which is
that we would now pass with the,
We passed, we
Isn't that-
passed it at the last meeting.
That fixed.
Didn't we fix it at the last meeting?
Yeah,
So it's fixed.
it's
Yeah.
fixed.
that's fixed.
However we say it, it's fixed.
It's now fixed. With this sentence in there, everything, we've got everything covered.
He's fixed.
It's fixed.
We passed a new one last week.
Right.
So
Well, we passed,
we passed a
we
revision. We passed a revision on the memorandum of understanding
yes,
mill building last week, which changed the language, which means it's a moot point.
that
Correct.
That-
is correct. We passed the change. We have not passed the
That's
minutes.
I understand that, but it's a moot point.
Well, this one now has got to do with the volunteer, which we did not fix. And that's what was tabled for.
Okay.
So with that, if that sentence is okay with you guys,
I'm fine with it.
and I can give it.
I'd make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of the November 11th meeting as revised.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you. That takes care of the 11th. Now, we have one of our favorite guests from the Lister's office. We have some errors and omissions from the Listers.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What I'm doing is I'm passing you out 2 sheets. The first sheet is last week's one, or last time's one, revised, because after we finished our meeting the last time, I went back the next day and it turned out we actually had another one, which is the reason for the second one. And by working on both of those with the woman at the state, I was able to understand a little bit better what was going on with current use. If you remember, we had a problem with the acreage count last week. We were off by an acre, and I just thought it was a bad addition. But it turned out that there's another class of current use that I wasn't aware of. I actually was peripherally aware of, but really not that aware of, which is called non-productive forest. And what that means is that you have land that is designated as forest, but it can't be logged, it can't be done anything because either the terrain is too steep or something. And evidently there was 1 acre in that property which was non-productive forest, and that was the acre that I didn't include in the total acreage. So anyways, that was the basis for the problem. Also, I found out that when you don't move any land from what's called excluded and included. Now, what I mean by that is if you've got, let's say, 20 acres, but you want 2 acres to be your home, those 2 acres are considered to be excluded from the current use. And the other 18 acres is considered to be included. And the only time the value changes is when you change the included and excluded acreage. So in this case, all that was done was acreage was moved from agricultural to forested land. And from the current use perspective, there's a change in value. But from the town's perspective, there's no change in value. Because it's, as far as the town's concerned, it's acreage. As far as current use is concerned, it's whatever they designate as farm or non-productive forest or productive forest. So anyways, the real situation from last week was that there's no change in value in the property. Even though the acreage got switched, there was no change in value from the town's perspective.
And what's the name of the?
This is for Ferrari?
Pardon me, this is the second one, the Pugliese.
So use of man's, there's no change, I didn't see any difference.
No, there's no difference there. That was nothing to do with current use. That was the shed.
Okay, it's still on the street.
So, however, you'll notice that the Pugliese, we've changed the acreage, but the value of the land from the town's perspective hasn't changed. So therefore, I would ask you to change your motion from last week, or last time, to either not include this as an errors and omission, or include it as an errors and omission, but note that the value didn't change. It's up to you which way you want to go.
I think because we changed it, we should unchange it.
Yeah, that's fine. So therefore, you should rescind that errors and omissions, is what you're, yeah.
I'll make a motion to rescind last meeting's errors and omissions regarding parcel ID 00I-14.
Except, will I get the job done for you?
Is that?
Will I get the job done for you?
Yeah, I think that will get the job. Because there's no change in value, so there's no reason to have an errors and omission.
Okay, that's good. Do I have a second?
A second one.
Do I have a second?
It's just that's only that.
Seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of rescinding last meeting's errors and omissions on this parcel, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so done, sir.
Okay, thank you. And that brings us to the next one, and this is a current use issue situation as well. What happened here is there used to be 4 acres no, 2 acres as their site. They wanted to take 2 acres out of current use so they could put a second building on it. So there is a change in value there because they're taking 2 acres out of current use and putting it into their excluded land. And that's the reason why you'll see that the appraised value went up, is because instead of getting the benefit of being part of a large parcel, it's now part of a smaller parcel. If you recall, when we do BCA, I told you how land is based on a bell curve, on a curve. So the more acreage you have, the less cost per acre that is. And however, when you in current use, you actually, it's like having 2 parcels. You have one parcel which is your excluded parcel, and you have your other parcel which is your included parcel in current use. Well, current use has its own curve. The excluded parcel has a separate curve. So what's happened is that 2 acres got taken out of the current use curve, which has got a lot of land in it, and put into the shorter curve where you've only got 4 acres in it instead of 2. So that's the reason why the value of that land went up. It's because it got moved from one curve to another curve. So anyways, what we're requesting here is that we change the value of the total value of the property from $311,900 to $313,400.
Do you have a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to change the value of property parcel number 0000-2 to the revised value of $313,400 as recommended by the Board of Listers.
Second.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes.
Having made that change, the state has now said that Jamaica is now done with current use for the year. So you shouldn't be seeing another one of these.
Well, you're still welcome back.
Just in time, we only have 3 weeks left. I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lou.
Thanks, sir. The next item is number 7. This is a suggestion that was sent to my attention the other day about how we distribute the town report. Historically, we've asked the producers, the printers, to mail out the town report to everybody. And the last several years, we end up getting boxes of town reports back because either they go to resident at and it comes back, for whatever reason. We're literally getting about 2 boxes worth of these things. So the idea was to save postage. We should, instead of sending the full town report out, send a postcard out that alerts whoever ends up at the mailbox that they can come and get one either here, or they can get one at the post office, or they can get one wherever we decide to distribute it. The idea is a cost savings. And the cost, you might ask, the postage for last year was $218.90 that was just the postage, not the printing and postage, just the postage alone. So it's not a big amount of money. I suppose it could be, but we do end up with a whole lot of extra of these things. But it was an idea we tossed around. I wanted to bring it to the board for your thoughts.
Is that
So
still?
do you print less copies? Or just mail less?
We wouldn't mail any.
Or mail in?
We wouldn't mail in.
No, I wouldn't go along with that.
I just think, as far as access, people who can't get out, elderly, people who have disabilities, and it's difficult for them to get into town, that aren't given the same, aren't afforded the same as those who can. So I think it makes it uneven, and I
You like the idea of continuing to
Yeah.
postage?
yeah.
$200.
Yeah.
We send them to the grand list, or is there what's the list we send them to?
Grand list.
It's been modified a little bit because instead of sending to all people, we send them to each address, correct?
Do we send it to the grand list or the voters?
Voter
That's what I'm
list.
asking.
The vote, I know.
The voters.
Voter list.
The
Voter list, okay.
Voter
That's what I
checklist,
meant.
yes.
Yeah, but ours, we only get one.
Because we go through and take off
Count the
duplicate
households.
addresses.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, so that's a modified voter list.
Yes.
So it's not to every voter.
Right.
We're just trying to go to every household of voters.
Do we know how many we print?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you remember?
700?
I think it's around
635?
7.
Oh, here's the number, quantity, 441 for domestic postage of 218.90, so I'm guessing 441?
That's how many we sent, then we had some brought here, then we had
Yeah.
like a case brought here, I believe.
Okay.
Which is a good idea.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's still
because
important.
people do want them when they come in.
I'm imagining even if we printed 50 fewer copies, the print cost isn't going to go down significantly either.
Right.
No, let's just end up with a bunch of extras.
I mean, I think it's a novel idea to kind of keep trying to rethink these things, I mean, if we can, but,
It came up.
is
It's
this
also-
even, had anybody researched, is this even possible legally?
I think, from what I understand, is you would have to warn it at town meeting for
Oh, right, we
next
did
year
talk about
to
that.
see if
Okay.
the people
Yeah.
wanted this. No, you couldn't just make the decision, you'd
Right.
have to warn it.
Right. I think it's awesome that we're thinking about it, I mean, there's probably a lot of.
Okay, so it's on the table, start thinking about this, certainly a really valid position about the people who don't get into town.
Right.
So that would be, you know, there's a lot of people show up for town meeting
You
either.
kind of work in town, so if we're trying to get to the post office
Sure.
or something.
Okay, well, that's why we brought it to the table. All right, so we can think about that. If it comes up again, we can toss it around about putting it on the warning if you'd like. If not, we can let it, this particular sleeping dog lie. Good. Number 8. Time for public concerns. Do we have a public concern? Do we have a concerned public?
We have
Yes, sir.
concern, yeah. As far as the sidewalk on the bridge,
Which bridge?
the number 32 on Route 30,
Okay.
that it's very difficult to cross it, and I see a lot of people stumbling across it, and wonder why it wasn't plowed when the rest of the sidewalks are plowed.
I noticed that too, I mean, it just seems, it had been plowed in past years. I
Yeah.
believe.
And that bridge wasn't plowed either, and my sidewalk still is not plowed.
But I sent you an email on that.
Oh, you did, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I sent you an email on that.
Before I.
You say the Depot Street?
It wasn't, it is now, but it wasn't on the day of. I remember I believe I walked up to town and I had to walk around.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when they went out. As far as the state bridge, Route 30, I don't know the answer to that. I know there was some difficulty. They were talking, I heard a conversation about some problems in that particular bridge and running the plow on it, but I don't know the answer to that. So
They're kind of responsible to doing it. I mean, it becomes hazardous, and then what happens when it builds up and it gets all irregular, and then it freezes and rains, it becomes impassable, and then they have to walk in the street across that bridge, which is a dangerous walk. So, I mean, I think the town took on the responsibility when they accepted the sidewalk grant.
Yeah, and that technicality is, we accepted the responsibility for the sidewalks that they put down. Does not extend to the ones that we didn't put down with that particular project. I understand what you're saying, because I remember that.
Is that piece of information known to the people who have the different sidewalks? Or are they assuming that because the put-down sidewalks have been plowed, that theirs is automatically going to be plowed?
Well, no, what we're saying is that he's referencing a portion of the contract that involved, when we put the sidewalks down several years ago,
Right,
part of the contract was that we would maintain them.
right, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about,
But
but,
we don't distinguish.
but
I
you
mean,
don't have new sidewalk, do you, or do you?
My sidewalk is plowed.
Is plowed?
They stop at the end of my property.
Yeah.
Instead of going across the
But
road.
not everybody has new sidewalks.
No, but plowing,
Yes, I do.
Plowing all of them.
yeah, he does. So it's not, they're not plowing only the new sidewalks. There's a couple of problems. There's a problem with well, you'll see in the letter I sent, I talked to Keith, there's a large, you remember the stump that's in front of you?
Yeah.
It forces the plow into the road. And as it goes into the road, because it's hitting the curb, it's chewing up the blades.
Okay.
So they stopped prior to that. As far as the bridge is concerned, I don't know the answer to that. I know there was a problem because someone else was discussing it. I'll check on it and have an answer
There
for
are
you.
people that live behind on the other
Oh.
side of it.
Well, I think it's more specifically,
Yes.
we should.
They broke 4 pins, whatever pins are on that little
Right.
thingy,
They
and trying to just plow that one side of the sidewalk, and that's all I know about it. But I know they broke like 4 pins that are,
So it was,
They never even attempted mine, though. So he never got to mine, so.
The
Well,
problem,
not this, no,
You
this
stopped
stop,
there,
I think
I
this
watched
is,
it.
Oh, the past.
I saw him doing that sidewalk, he stopped right where you said.
yeah,
Stop right at my driveway.
yeah, and
It's
that I
the one
believe,
side of your driveway and stops.
Yes.
yeah. And I believe this is something, this has been going on for a couple of years since we got this new.
On and off, they have plowed at the times, they don't plow.
That was, that's
Then
it.
we got, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, we got another smaller storm. Did that pile up on the sidewalk and not get,
the sidewalk on the bridge just didn't get
It
plowed.
did not get plowed.
I think
When the
that's
state comes down,
significant.
we
Yes,
just-
the state plows the snow onto the bridge.
well, they come down and then we got that second storm, they could have just blown that right up there, but.
But I think that's it.
Part of the problem,
Seems like something's not right.
part of the problem with that piece on the, if I understand from what I've heard correctly, is, first of all, we know the state's plowing sand and snow and, I don't know, salt, whatever else they put on to make it very, very difficult. I'm not sure if the blower will toss it over into the river, except that it is illegal to
Yes.
blow salt, etc., into the creek. And so,
They do,
huh?
They
the
do.
plow does,
I think
That's
we
them,
got it.
that's the state.
I know.
The problem we have is so much, there's only so much sidewalk, then there's this wall, then there is the river. And so if we blow the snow from the sidewalk into the river, we're in violation of all kinds of Agency of Natural Resources positions.
Yeah,
It's-
that's true on our road.
We're not allowed,
to do it on our road either, we don't get salt.
well, but the road here is salted.
Yeah.
Or
which
flag or
makes-
whatever they
which
put on it.
makes it worse.
So that's,
I would bet that a plow could take it off sideways.
Huh?
A plow on the road could extend themselves to push the snow off.
The state could, we can't.
it's,
We
it's
can't
not
plow
about
that, put a plow on that
the
sidewalk.
state's the one who's plowing that road. We-
Well,
Because it's Route 30.
The
But it's
point,
it's our
the point
side.
is that,
Yeah.
the point is that it's a problem and a hazard, and there has to be a way to resolve it.
I hear that, so I'm making a note to that effect. There may be, maybe consulting with District Two, may have a suggestion, District Two.
Well, they had told us that they would put a wing down on there and get it off the best they could, but
Yeah,
No, there was, nobody put any wing.
they got other things to worry about.
I also
instead of
there's
that
probably-
side. I'm not
every year there's-
minimizing it, but it's either, we gotta put it on our guys to go out and shovel it, and I don't know what they're gonna do, throw it in the road or in the back of a truck, stop in the road.
in order to clear that legally, take at least two guys, one shoveling and one with a truck, you know, to
Stop
keep the truck out of
traffic.
traffic. Stop one lane of traffic while they're doing this. And put the snow in a truck and take it someplace, because we can't put it over into the river.
Could at night. It's not funny, I would,
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile reaching out to the state again. I mean, we say we did it every year, but to do it again. I mean, they've got new drivers and, I mean, just to kind of say, hey, could you do this again? There's gotta be a solution. I mean, they just stopped. Last year, they didn't just stop there, so why did they just stop there this year?
I have a basic snow blower and I've gone across it with the snow blower. It wasn't a problem. If you wait 2 days and it starts to melt and freeze, it becomes much more
Yeah,
difficult.
I think
But I've
back
gone
in from
across it in
May.
any circumstances, I've been able to plow
And where did you blow the snow?
forward.
Eventually it gets to the other
Eventually
side.
it gets to that little piece of grass on the other side of the bridge. And then you can turn your blower and blow it into the grass and not into the river. So if somebody came out there, if you can't use the riding blower, if somebody came out there with a hand blower and spent a half hour, it would be clear. And the more storms that'll allow it to build up, the worse it gets and the more difficult it is to resolve.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with anybody's thinking on this, but it seems odd that we're not allowed to get a truck on there.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's state road, but it's our sidewalk, and we can get a snowblower on there, why can't we get a truck on there?
For plowing the sidewalk and not the road.
Yeah, right. And whatever it takes
It's our
for plowing the
responsibility.
sidewalk. I
Yes,
mean,
I'm
I think, challenge Keith with it and say, hey, we need a solution and see what he comes up with.
I'll call district, I'm not entirely sure that sidewalk is ours, I believe it belongs to the state, because it's a state bridge.
Right.
Granted, it's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
people's feet that's walking across.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so we end up splitting, here's this thing, the problem with, again, back to what we've got, what we can work with. I'll give District 2 a call and see what kind of,
They might.
yeah, for choices, for options. Like, the reason we're not blowing it into the river is because it's illegal. We're not blowing back into the road because it just goes back and forth. It's also illegal to blow back into the road. So if you go push it all the way down to one end, I don't know if that's an option or not for those guys. But I'll mention it to
Put
you.
the challenge out there.
It is going to be a challenge ever because we have a road that is inches away from the state highway.
Yeah,
And
but it's the case in other towns too, and so
Everywhere.
it's a challenge everywhere.
Sure, it is. It's not like it's just us. All right, I will give District 2 a call tomorrow. Anything else, sir?
Thank you.
Okay. We've exhausted our public. Okay, real quick, while we're talking about roads and sidewalks, I'd like to remind everybody in our audience that it is not just annoying, it's illegal to plow your driveways and sidewalks and plow the snow into either the road or from onto the sidewalks. You can plow the sidewalks back under your property, but you cannot by law blow it into the roads, nor can you push snow across the road into a potentially vacant space if you leave snow tracks on the road. It's dangerous, people hit the tracks, it's just, you just can't do it. It's illegal, but it's also dangerous. And that's really all I want to go on that one. All right, so for the items that are added to the, we have 2 letters. One is going to be an executive session. Let's really quickly dispense with the question about the next meeting. Our next meeting would be scheduled to be, I believe it's the 23rd?
23rd.
The day before
I'm out of
Christmas
town.
Eve.
I'm out of town, I'm here.
You're out of town? Can we come? No. What, check the calendar, is it the 23rd?
It is the 23rd.
The 23rd. All right. Do we anticipate, do we wish to have a regularly scheduled select board meeting on the 23rd of December?
Not really.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna be
I
around.
don't think I will be here either.
2 no's and a not really?
No.
And a third?
I'll make a motion to cancel the meeting on December 23rd.
I have a motion to cancel the 23rd meeting. I have a second. Any further discussion? I would only add, while we're in the discussion, if something urgent were to appear, I would I'll try to get a quorum and do it again.
Sure.
Absent that, given the current schedule, I think we can meet again in January. All in favor, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. Our next meeting will be in January. Okay. The next one, we received a letter today from the Windham Regional Commission, specifically Chris Campany, I believe is the one that sent it to me. And basically they're discussing the Windham Region Broadband Project Kickoff Meeting, which is happening the 16th of January. And this is essentially a meeting to take a look at the region's new broadband project. WRC and its partners, ValleyNet and Rural Innovation Strategies, Inc., recently received a broadband innovation grant from the state's Department of Public Service. So, if there's anyone here from the board who would like to attend that,
It's on my calendar.
Tom, excellent.
I'll go.
I think I sent you a copy of this email.
Yes, I saw it today and I put it on my calendar. And I can go, I'll be back in town by 6.
Excellent. Do you want to just give Chris an email, let him know?
Yeah, I'll contact Chris.
Yeah, there's a Westa, I don't think I know her.
I don't
Sue West.
Sue Wester.
Sue Westa?
She's the chair of the Community Development Committee.
Excellent. She's the one, and there's a RSVP address on the front of the letter.
I was planning to attend also.
Good, 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 good.
More
Excellent.
the merrier.
I'm going to
Yep.
attend also.
I have also said sent this letter to Rebecca, the chair of the planning commission, for her, if she's interested in that.
Are we to go there? Is someone gonna represent the town on our view or our position or interest in doing
They're
that?
asking that.
They're
asking that.
Yeah, they're asking, basically,
There's 2
First
commissioners that will, Wyndham Regional Commissioners
I'll
that'll
be
be
there.
there.
I'll be there, but I was going to just be there. But
Me too, I'm just saying that.
Well, this was addressed to the select boards, broadband committees, supervisory unions, libraries, hospitals, and other interested people. So what the Windham committees are doing with that, I don't know, but this was sent to us. There may be people from your committees that are going.
They're asking.
But it does ask for a.
What towns do, number 1.
What's that? Say again?
It acts under what can towns do on the second page, number 1.
Right.
That's sort of like, do we want to participate in a resolution?
Well, this is either before or immediately after the kickoff meeting.
Right.
We need the select boards to do something. So this is the kickoff meeting we're talking about. So I would expect that the people would come back from the kickoff meeting with that information and a description of what we need to do.
Yeah, or just say, hey, yeah, this is something we want to get involved in, or no, we don't
Exactly,
care.
exactly. Yeah.
Because we have better.
Because this just, you just gave us this today, right?
I just got it today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just
So
came.
we couldn't like have formed an opinion for it.
No, I'm doing this because I just literally got
So it
it.
seems to be asking kind of.
It does ask before or immediately after, so let's
I
pick
didn't
immediately
see the
after.
I think
immediate.
I'd like to know more about it.
Right, I know.
My first quick read also.
I panicked at the first part, as usual.
Now, let's wait till we find out what it is before you decide we want to be part of it. Excellent, okay. Any other questions on that? We have 2 members going to go. Thank you very much. All right, next item. Let's see here.
We gotta read the thing.
Hmm?
We gotta read the thing. This
Yes,
is
now,
the Muzzy
just to
thing?
be clear, we're going to have 2 separate, two separate executive sessions. One is for the Muzzy Fund, and one is a personnel matter. We're going to do one at a time. We're going to do the Muzzy Fund
With the Muzzy
first, and then we will come out back into for the personnel matter. I instructed the television crew that they don't need to hang around, because I don't anticipate needing them after we're done with these 2 meetings, these informational meetings.
No, I have it. I move to find the premature general knowledge of